Ricky, the veins are popping out of his throat. Well, he isn't called the Stroke Daddy for nothing. Because when the Saints go marching in, when the Saints go marching in, we have a brand new champion. When the Saints go marching in. Casio, Ricky Saints! Obafemi fans, presumably. But what a reign for Obafemi, and what a beginning of a reign for Ricky Saints, a.k.a. Ricky Starks. I'm John Retton with my review of WWE NXT No Mercy 2025 from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, surprise NXT review. Why? Because I was bored. Decided to watch this. You know what? There were things I liked. I didn't like Booker T's commentary. I still don't. He's an abomination. He needs to be stopped. He needs a cognitive test. Because I don't think he knows what the fuck he's saying anymore. There's a difference between having fun and ruining a goddamn show by just assing off. He is basically just doing a variation of what he did when he was on commentary in TNA. The difference is, more people were watching TNA at that point, but I digress. So, they were in a little venue that held around 1,400 people, and honestly, the crowd was pretty electric. I liked the little ramp to the ring. I did like that they had video packages, for the main, matches on the card. And as somebody that has kept up on a little bit of NXT, but not a ton, I like how a lot of this is streamlined, but one thing I want to complain about, having, lengthy, portions of past No Mercy matches, taking up the ad breaks, I don't know what the fuck that was about. You could have shown a couple clips and gone from there. This show could have been 10 to 15 minutes shorter. And I understand they want to, pad the runtime. That's okay. They want to try to honor the Peacock deal after screwing over Peacock by running more two-night events and running more PLEs so they could go to ESPN for more money and basically a dumber service. So, whatever. You are not, by the way, going to be getting a lot of WWE pay-per-view reviews going forward. NXT ones maybe, but they'll be here and there. They'll be here and there, folks. So, we have Javon Evans against Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs is like if you tried to basically add charisma to a fucking corpse. You can try all you want, but it's not gonna fucking work. It's like a fucking rotted rutabaga that is trying to gain sentience. Josh Briggs can do the moves. He has the personality of just like bland oatmeal. He has nothing to offer beyond being able to do the moves. And yes, he can do some impressive stuff. And Javon Evans can bounce around like crazy. That's not even a play on his whole bouncy thing. And he had a pretty good match against Sami Zayn on SmackDown. And actually, speaking of SmackDown really quickly, Tiffany versus Jade versus Nia was doomed to fail because, I'm sorry, Jade is never going to get better than she is right now. It's just not going to fucking happen. And Tiffany, this title reign has spun and just gone to a fucking ditch or gone off the side of the road, like that scene in One Battle After Another that I'm not going to spoil in case anybody hasn't seen it. And Nia Jax needs to be fucking shit-canned. I'm sorry, she is so fucking bad. She forgot to kick out. Oh, she might have been concussed. Well, show her a goddamn vaccine needle and then she'll just pass out at the mere thought of actually taking that because her superior immune system will save her. Fire Nia Jax. She's not any fucking good. So let's get back to this. Javon Evans is way over. And Josh Briggs, they said was from Nothing, Arizona. The jokes write themselves, folks. So, Javon fights back. He did hit some... He's not going to be able to walk by the age of 30 if he doesn't slow down. And I say that as somebody that has seen plenty of high flyers get grounded early on. He hit a nice dive outside. He had a nice splash for 2. And we got a big old lariat. Like, Josh was hitting some moves. And was jaw-jacking with the fans a little bit too much, though. And there were some forearms. There were 2 big boots. And then a flip off the top. And then suddenly a choke slam for 2. And then Josh hits a lariat from behind. And we get basically a foot on the ropes. Okay, Javon then basically says, no, Josh, you're not going to pull that turnbuckle pad down anymore. You're not going to do this. Slash him's like, come on. And then he counters out of a chokeslam. He manages to hit a cutter. And then the super cutter. 1, 2, 3. Big pop. Good finish. Right guy won. So yeah, recaps of Trick versus Dominic at No Mercy 2023. Why? I don't know. Kalani Jordan beat the former Xia Li, I forget what her name is in NXT now, for the vacant knockout women's championship because apparently Ash by Elegance, aka Dana Brooke, had to relinquish it because of something, jarring in her life. So she's been through some stuff, some personal things, and whether the performer is your favorite or not, let's hope for the best for Dana. I hope it's nothing health related. I hope that if it's a personal matter, that she's going to be okay, take all the time she needs. If she has to step away from wrestling for a while, fine. If she has to step away from wrestling for good, I just hope for continued health for her. So, Lainey Reed apparently is somebody that was going to face Sol Ruca for the NXT, the Speed Championship, but she's injured. And then not Sol Ruca, but Lola Vice kind of gets, says, oh, you'll get your shot at some point, but Lainey's like, oh, that's great, and she just bows up at her, being all snide, like, oh, well, you can talk about that once you lose tonight. And Lola gets upset at her. I wonder if this is going to play into something later on. Sol Ruca, my God. Her and Zarya, my word, what a duo. And I mean in the ring, but also, Jesus, both of them. Sol Ruca took on in the open challenge of Jada Parker, easy for me to say. Speed Championship. I hated the Speed Championship concept when it was on Twitter X. And now it's Twitter, by the way. It's always going to be Twitter. But, I don't mind the lighting changes to indicate, okay, time is running down, but that just seems a little too gimmicky. Jada has not improved since that singles match that she had against Roxanne. She's kind of just plateaued. I'm not saying she's gotten worse. She just hasn't done anything other than plateau. And Lash shows up because Lash and Jada have been sniping at each other. Zarya ends up spearing Lash. And a Soul Snatcher. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was with a few seconds left. And, yeah. There's endless plugs of just Evolve and other clips of things. I don't know who any of these fucking people for Evolve are. I don't know. I don't care. Nothing against them. Why are Temu Shield still around? They are the tag team champions. I forgot that. They beat Discount Public Enemy last time. Joe Hendry is like, oh, Temu Shield, Dark State, are making good points. Are they, though? Are they, Hendry? So, then Vic Joseph basically says, this one won't be pretty. He is referring to the weaponized steel cage match. Okay, I don't know why Blake Mariah Monroe was dressed up like a Dudley. She looked good doing it, don't get me wrong. Jordan Grace, I don't know what it is about her. Just something doesn't sit right with me. She can do impressive moves, and she has gotten better. But I don't know what it is. Just something about... I remember when people dogged on her because of comments about Chris Benoit and stuff like that, but, from the Benoit apologist, Chavo Guerrero, but nevertheless, it's a weaponized steel cage match. Pink kendo stick, pink chair. I didn't know Pepto-Bismol was advertising. And, okay, I'm going to be perfectly honest with this. I did not care much for this. It wasn't egregious like other weaponized matches. But to me, if you have a few weapons, it's one thing. But this was overly gimmicky and overly ridiculous. There was a move the table chant because the table was leaning up against the cage wall, which was blocking the view of some fans. And it's a small venue, so the ref did. And that got a pop. Blake Monroe kept targeting the hand because Jordan apparently has a broken thumb. Okay, credit to her for working through that, because that could be painful. And then there's one point where Blake is just attacking her and knocking her hand. and, smashing into the wall, smashing with a kendo stick, and then decides to scissor Jordan by taking out her extensions. It looks like a weave shop blew up in the goddamn ring. I'm sorry, it looked ridiculous. Like, it didn't look any less ridiculous than the tables and tacks match at All Out, but Mariah is better than this, and yes, her and Tony did a whole bunch of stuff in the Hollywood ending match, but that at least was built up in a good feud. I have not really cared for this feud. It's been going since, Blake Mariah turned on Jordan, I believe, in July, if I recall correctly. And, yeah, there you go. There's whipping with a belt. This just didn't necessarily work. This didn't work for me. It was kind of badly paced. There is also a point where instead of tacks, they get some diamonds out. So it's diamonds, if you remember that Simpsons episode. And Blake went into the window, to the wall, to the sweat jar. Never mind. And an air raid crashed through the table, and suddenly Jordan gets the victory. I don't know. I don't like it when they do it, when they over-weaponize guys' matches. I don't mind when they do it with the women, because you can make it equal. But if I hate it when they do it with the men, I'm probably not going to like when they do it with the women either, even if it involves a woman that I care for. And Blake Mariah Monroe is somebody that could be featured well. I don't blame her for going to WWE. She's taking less money, but it's her dream. Fine. She did everything she could do in AEW. Had she stayed in AEW, what else could she have done? She pretty much peaked with the Hollywood ending match. Take a look at what they're doing. They probably would have had her job to fucking Mercedes or something. So, Ava makes an announcement. One, Ava is absolutely right with what she said, quoted about Charlie Kirk. And if you have a problem with that, maybe you should probably shut up, because that means you're agreeing with Charlie Kirk. Maybe don't be a full-on goddamn dick like he was, and you'll be remembered well, once you die. Or you could be remembered like him as a bigoted, racist asshole that probably should have developed a stronger neck. Now stuck his neck out so goddamn far. So that being said, and also his wife's a fucking grifter, and I just hope those kids grow up to be smarter. But nevertheless, it's NXT versus TNA in an invasion. The TNA roster that's pretty much full of former NXT talents. And current NXT talents are champions of TNA. I know it's supposed to be a crossover thing, but this is not beneficial to anybody. It's October 7th. It's going to be 2 Survivor Series elimination matches. And also a Dark State Temu Shield against the Hardys in a winner-takes-all match for the tag titles. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yay. So Lash comes out and calls out TNA, and then Jada Parker comes out and attacks her. Laney Reed and Lola Vice argued backstage later. Like here. I apologize for jumping ahead. And yeah, then we get Joe Hendry and Ethan Page recaps. This show would have been honestly about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes without all these recaps. Tavian Heights against Ethan Page in a match for the North American Championship. Where, look, I like the Canadian, spin on the North American Championship. I like that because it harkens back to Lance Storm when they briefly had something smart going in WCW in 2000. Tavian isn't bad. He's skilled. I think that trip to, I believe it was Noah last summer, helped him. Ethan, this is probably the best way you can use Ethan. There was a lot of, back focus, and Tavian did hit some good power moves, but got the Boston Crab locked on. He did manage to get the ankle lock at one point, but it got slammed off the top. And the Twisted Grand, I believe it's the Twist of Fate. 1, 2, 3. So there you go. And Ethan then is greeted by El Hijo del Wagner Jr. Okay, we're going to get more AAA stuff crossover. So, Kelly Kincaid talked to Miles Bourne, who is partially deaf, and he cut a promo. And bless that man for getting out there and doing that. I mean, seriously, bless him for getting out there and doing that. Because I couldn't do it if I had that if I had that going on with me, because I wouldn't know how I sound. And he's determined. And he's not a bad athlete. I've seen a few matches with him. He's not bad. And he goes home to Stephanie Vacour. So really isn't he winning at life? But I really am mad at a couple of mutuals for stuff that they said. Because, god damn it, I couldn't stop laughing during the following match. Because I have such dark humor. But good on Miles Bourne. Good on him. I seriously wish nothing but the best for him and Stephanie. They're treating each other right. Good. Good for them. Just no. No! Go to my goddamn timeline if you want to see the jokes. Mike Santana, he ain't coming alone. He may not come at all after a while. Recaps of Jada and Roxanne from last year. The match I referred to, Jada not being, having a better one than since. So, JC Jane and Fallon Henley, fuck. I mean, Jesus. Fallon Henley having this glow up. Not the country look, not to her such a price. There's nothing wrong with how she looked before. Nothing wrong at all. And she's improved in the ring. And I'm glad she's getting this opportunity. Jesus Christ, this glow up is amazing. She is so absolutely stunning. JC is so absolutely stunning, but also has improved, has finally gained the chance to be the champion that she was meant to be probably about a year before she was. And Lola Vice is her opponent. And it's for the NXT Women's Championship, and I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it with Lola. I don't think she's bad athletically. I just don't think it's going to come together. Lola had to fight the odds. Her back was targeted after like a couple spots. Lola's family was watching on, and her dad looked like he was ready to legit chew through a concrete wall because he was really fired up. And I mean that. With respect, that man looked like he was ready to do to JC what Jose Gonzalez did to Bruiser Brody, but I digress. So, this was certainly better than the weaponized cage match because it was an actual match. Fallon kept interfering. Fallon got kicked out. She's all upset. And we got some good back and forth. We got some near falls. There was a spinning back fist. This went a little bit long, though, at this point. A spinning back fist, and Lola pops out of the goddamn ring because she's tired. JC's all whatever. And then, because we have the Miami connection nearby, we are not against a ninja, for a ninja did some taekwondo against her, and that is a deep cut for riff tracks and bad movie fans. But, yeah, somebody attacked. I think it was the Black Scorpion's daughter. And then, one's back in the ring. Lola just got back in the ring just in time to be fisted by JC. 1, 2, 3. So, who's the ninja? Somebody said an outside shot is Britt Baker. I mean, okay if they want a popcorn fart. And I'm not disagreeing with the person. It's not the worst idea, but I think the people will shit all over that. Because Britt has regressed horribly. But I can see what they're saying, and they've raised a lot of good points. I think Lainey Reed, I think that's the most obvious. Jasmine Nix apparently was not happy with the new contract that she was offered, so she decided to leave after 3 years. And if it is not financially good for her, I don't blame her. And Jasmine apparently had a lot of knee issues, few knee surgeries, and it just sounded like it wasn't working out for her, even though she was trying to get better, and that's okay. But it just wasn't going to work. And if she can parlay that into a better career, good for her. So, Oba Femi against Ricky Starks Saints. NXT title match. And basically, this is just, is Oba going to slip on a banana peel? Or slip on a goddamn, patch of ice, or whatever. And slipping on a banana peel or patch of ice thing is basically like, is the much more powerful individual going to be caught off guard? That's essentially what it is. I realize I probably should have worded that better, but nevertheless. The intent was there. Oba, just stopping Ricky at any point, slapping him down. And then they said, Ricky, the veins are popping out of his throat. Dear God, Vic, phrasing. A Samoan drop by Ricky. Ricky kept going, but kept getting stopped. Like he was getting some hope, but he just kept getting stopped. And then the table got cleared off, and the table nearly wobbled. It weebled and it wobbled, but it did not fall down. A DDT onto the table. And then Oba somehow was able to get back up, and Ricky tried to run at him, and he just hit this chop that it sounded like a rifle shot. And then a fall from grace for 2. Holy shit. Kicked out of Oba's finish. All right. I'm figuring Oba's still going to win this. 1 DDT, tornado DDT. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Ricky gets the victory. Ricky Saints is the NXT champion. Ricky is a world champion of a major promotion. God, if only another promotion would have thought of doing that with him, but they didn't. That's a missed opportunity. Ricky is somebody that really could have been utilized better by AEW, but they just kept stopping and starting with him. That being said, no, I'm not going to watch NXT regularly. I'm not going to watch Invasion. I get a bunch of work I'm doing coming up later in the month. Actually, as of right now, as of this recording, from this day that I'm recording all the way till October 29th, I'm going to have 4 days off. 4 days. I will review as many movies as I can. Wrestling's probably going to be put on the back burner. Might be just taken off the burner completely, depending. But that means that NXT No Mercy was fine. It was entertaining, but they really could have cut out some of the recaps. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin, and until we go to NXT again, hopefully not anytime soon, happy trails to you.